Welcome to another episode of Sit Down and Think, where we get the skinny on the latest happenings in animation. The Owl House has finally concluded after its run on Disney Channel. It was a show that managed to leave a strong and lasting impact that we will hopefully continue feeling for some time. I'm sitting down with the great crew of the Owl House. Why don't you all introduce yourselves?
Should I go first?
Who goes first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Baza. I was a production associate on season 3 of The Owl House.
Hi, my name is Zharia Rahn, and I was a prop designer on season 3 of The Owl House, specifically the last episode.
Hi, I am Mike Austin, and I was a storyboard artist on season 2 and season 3 of
I'm
The Owl House.
Dresden. I'm a color designer, and I worked on season 3 of The Owl House.
All right. These are all great people who did a lot of amazing work. So let's figure out, what was it like to be on the Owl House? I really am curious. Like, what does it feel like after everything's happened to have made this series and have the impact that it was able to have?
It was surreal. It was really cool.
Yeah.
To have been a part of something so huge and with such a talented cast and crew. It was like an amazing experience to collaborate with you all.
That's the word I was going to use too, is surreal. I was really lucky to be put on the production when I was. Like, I was just a fan of the show until 2022, and I got the chance to work on the last stage of pre-production on the last season. I just felt so lucky and so happy.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a dream come true, like specifically for me, because like Dresden, I was like a fan of the show. Like I had an entire YouTube channel where, you know, like covered the show, talked about it. So the chance to be able to like work on it was like the most incredible thing ever, to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, same here. I was a fan, and it's just so weird working on a show like you were a fan of for like a year and a half. It's like, dang.
Yeah. Wow, we were really all fans. I didn't know that. We were all like fanboys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember the Owl House, like the first season aired when I was in like my senior year of art school. And that's like when I really fell in love with it. And like my senior year was 2020. So that's like, we're all inside like for, you know, COVID and stuff. And I remember I would sneak and watch it when I was supposed to be like in class or doing work and stuff. So it was really like, it's like a really insane full circle moment to be able to come back like 2 years later and then be a part of like the final episode, like the, you know, like the finale.
Yeah.
It was insane.
I imagine that that's actually something I find pretty unique about the show, is that it did bring in actual fans of the show onto its like last leg of its life. Like that's something a little unheard of, even for like you, Rebecca. You used to be a YouTuber who covered the show, like, and then you somehow went on to work as a production associate. That's honestly kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking because it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, I feel if you're a fan of anything, you're like, oh man, it'd be cool to work on that one thing I like one day. But you're like, oh, but that would like never happen because like, what are the chances? What are the odds of that? But yeah, like things just kind of aligned for me to be able to, you know, interview for the position and, you know, get a job on the show. But I mean, there's been like other YouTubers who have made their way into the animation industry. Mackenzie Atwood, MK Atwood on YouTube used to do like Steven Universe edits and stuff like that. And then she became an intern on the show and did like the Steven Universe podcast. And now she's an animatic editor at Titmouse. Michael Williams, who used to be part of Cartoon Universe on YouTube. He's a production coordinator now at DTVA on Hamster and Gretel. So it's like there's content creators out there who are just kind of like making their way into the animation industry. So it's, I don't know, it's just kind of cool to be like a part of that, just to kind of like keep that going. But yeah, no, like I said before, it's just like an absolute like dream come true to be able to work on a show that I loved so much.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me because, like you said, like for a lot of people, they dream of being able to work on like their favorite shows or movies or such. And with the Owl House, it's like it managed to last long enough that it's like an actual fans got to work on it, and that's honestly just kind of interesting to me. It just kind of shows you that it's like, even if you're a fan of this stuff, you can eventually get in there at some point in some way, you know. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. Like, it doesn't always happen, like, in the way that you think it will, I think, sometimes. Like, when it comes to, like, getting your foot in the door or, like, getting a job on this show, like, I did not think, like, YouTube was going to be the way that, like, I ended up getting into the industry. You know, I did the whole, like, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to get, like, an internship and blah, blah, blah. And then, like, that did not work out. It was me, like, just doing my own thing on the side is what ended up being
that's
the
always
thing,
the that's always the funniest thing is like you do college and you think that's the way to get into whatever, but you find out the side hustle or side hobby thing you were doing ends up being a bit more fruitful for you somehow. It's always like funny how it works out like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, each person's different. I mean, there's plenty of people who work in the industry who did go to college and they found that to be, like, super helpful for them. But, like, in my particular case, it was just, like, you know, my YouTube channel ended up being the thing for me. But, I mean, there's plenty of great, incredible artists who, you know, went to, like, the SVA or Cal Arts or, you know, RISD, you know, and other colleges and universities, or, you know, those who are completely self-taught and never even went to college. Yeah, that's kind of the cool thing about this industry is that there's like a million different ways to get in.
And to kind of keep on that whole like fan thing, like Mike, you started off as like a Steven Universe like fan artist, right? Yeah. So like sure. It's honestly interesting to me that you managed to work on something that would fall more into like a contemporary for Steven Universe.
Yeah, I mean, I just went as like a fan. I just literally went straight into Owl House from Steven Universe Future. So it's like, and then just straight from Owl House fan to working on Owl House. It's crazy, and it's like, you know, they're both like story driven cartoons, and I feel like they really resonate with like you know, gay people. So like it just resonates with people, and it's like, yeah, like I want to work on that, and then you end up doing
and
it.
you were able to get like do actual storyboards and such, making like a lot of those unique poses and blocking moments that we got to see. So I do want to know, like, what would you consider like the hardest storyboard you had to do for the show?
The hardest storyboard, like overall, like the hardest episode I say would be like the first episode I did, which was Any Sport in a Storm. And that's just because like it was like the first thing I ever did, and I never like boarded anything professionally, so it's like, oh my god, like don't hate me, guys, like I can do this. Like just like looking back at it now, like it's just like any other episode, but I think it was just like the stress and just like thinking, you know, like I have, like this is, you know, the show I love, like I just want to make it as good as possible, and just making sure like, oh god, I hope this turns out well, and I guess it did. And but like aside from like a whole episode, but like the hardest thing I had to board was probably like in season 3 there was like a couple of shots where there was just like 7 characters on screen. I'm like, oh my god, 7 characters moving at the same time, and I gotta put them places, and I think there was like Camila and all the kids, right, and Matt are just sure we're all in a room together walking.
Yeah. I imagine with a show like this, it must have been like a bit of an adjustment, because a show like this definitely comes across as a far more complex in how it like carries itself, like from all the intricate monster designs or the intricate props we see and all the use of color and how they manage to make it all blend together. I imagine it's definitely got to feel like a lot of work across for everybody working on the show to make sure every intricate detail like fits in as well as it was able to.
I mean, definitely. But like, yeah. The thing is, it's like when you work on a product, like when you're watching an episode, you're just like, as a viewer, you're like, oh, this is nice. But then like once you work on a show, you understand like how much goes into it. It's like when like guys, like montages and flash forwards, they're fun. They're great. It's so much fun for those. But from a production standpoint, they are absolute hell because it's like, okay, this character has 5 costume changes. They're showing up in 6 different palettes. They're holding a prop in this shot. And it's like, oh my God, we have to like make all of this. So it's like they're fun, but it's like once you start working on like on a show, you understand like just how complex it actually is and how you have to create everything you're seeing on screen. But yeah, like again, montages, great, absolutely losing it when I saw that animatic for the first time for Thanks to Them and like the whole beginning scene, like the flash forward at the end of Watching and Dreaming. So much fun. But as a training exercise, I did a breakdown on production to call out like each character, each prop, each background, like everything that shows up in that flash forward sequence. And I think in those few minutes, it was like the same total as like a standard 22-minute episode of Owl House. It's just like, oh my God, like we have to do all of this in just like 6 minutes. I'm like, what do you mean? But yeah, but it's a ton of fun, and seeing the end result makes it worth it at the end. But my God, are we just like looking at those handout sheets like, okay, I think we can do this. I mean, we have to do this, but it's just like the stress of trying to complete everything. But yeah, it's a fun time.
I'd imagine also, like, because I remember there was something in like film school they would tell you, it's like avoid montages, and for what you're telling me at this point, it's like, oh, that makes way more sense why they don't want you to do montages. Because it's like all those and it's worse in animation because it's like you have to create all of that. You can't just go and buy the stuff and have it, or have like use whatever's in like a warehouse somewhere. It's like, no, everything.
Or like a person, you just change their outfit. You don't have to draw the outfit each time. You just hand them a new shirt or whatever. It's just like
and then turn them. It's not just like drawing.
I know you have to
turn around.
Yeah,
like
turn
this
around.
pose that they always do on the model sheets.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I imagine like for props that could be also fairly annoying whenever the montage introduces like a new item that may not even be important at all.
I mean, I don't even think about it like that anymore because it feels like everything I kind of like design, no matter if it was for Owl House or for anything else, Moon Girl, whatever, it kind of like it always is just going to be on screen for like half a second most of the time, unless it's like something that's like really important. And if it's really important, I'll have to do like multiple different angles of it. But usually if it's just like a one-off, like I'm just like, okay, it's a one-off, like I've accepted it already. But like I don't mind that, say like the glove I designed towards the end of or not towards the, like, God, I'm so inarticulate, I'm sorry, but like I designed this glove and it's in the final couple of minutes and it's a beautifully like intricate, very detailed glove, and it's literally on screen for like a second or maybe 2, maybe not even like 10 seconds max. And it's like, wow, I did like 5 revisions on this glove, and Dana like really let me run wild with it, which I appreciate. But like it's it's whatever. I mean, people still screenshot it. It was like, oh my God, I love the glove, like it was cool, like seeing people's reactions to it. And that's kind of like the only thing I really am looking for when I'm designing anything. It doesn't matter if it's on screen for a second, like I'm proud of it regardless.
I do just also want to point out that Zharia was the one who came up with the forget-me-not flowers on Flapjack's grave. That's something I know a lot of people have pointed out. That was such a wonderful touch. Because in the boards, it wasn't like a specific flower. It was just a generic flower. And Zharia is the one who made that call, and everyone absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it was really cool seeing everyone on Twitter be like, oh my God, it's Forgive-Me-Nots. Like, and when I posted it on TikTok, everyone was like, it was you. And I'm like, yeah, it was me. But no, yeah, I really loved doing the Forgive-Me-Nots because it was like, it's like also a little gift for my mother. And her favorite flower are Forget-Me-Nots. And I thought that would be like cool. Like, haha, look, Mom, Forgive-Me-Nots. And she's like, cool. And I don't even think her favorite flower is even Forgive-Me-Nots anymore. I think it's like something totally different. But it was still cool to like think I was doing something cool for my mom. But yeah, no, it was really cool to see everyone's response to that. I didn't even think anyone would really pick up on it. But once it caught, like everyone was like, oh my God, I didn't even notice, or oh my God, I noticed immediately. And that was like, made me feel really good, like that's why I did it, just in case someone did know
Yeah,
their
that's
flowers.
something I've always found interesting about the Owl House is it very much wears a lot of its influences on its sleeves, and you from what you're explaining, it's like because everybody is putting something of interest into it, and that's always something that's funny, interesting to me when people are able to point out all these intricate stuff, and that's always fascinating that it's able to balance all that out or even play into like a bigger narrative like we see with the way the episodes are titled and they spell out a whole sentence that play into the bigger theme of what the season is or so, or in last season's case it's just a big thank you message even to like the fans. So I think that's always it's always
Yeah.
amazing to be able to see all that play out so well. Like everybody puts just that individual interest of theirs into what they meant into the show.
Yeah, and I mean, as someone who sat in on like a lot of the design reviews, you can kind of see that like even if like like a prop showing up for 2 seconds, or in the episode, and it seems kind of like inconsequential to like the viewer, but it's like designers go all out like with their designs, and they like put things in there with like their own meanings and stuff like that, and can sometimes even like influence the story. Sam Keston, who is one of our color designers on the show, was the one who colored the little cutouts of Caleb and Philip, and thanks to them when they were on like the haunted hayride. And Sam made the call to have Caleb's coat be the blue coat that we saw Philip in Elsewhere and Elsewhere. And Dana was like, "Oh, I didn't even think that like maybe he stole his coat." But Dana was like, "Yeah, I like that." And so then that like kind of became just like canon, just like right there, just because of like what Sam decided to color it for that moment, which is really cool. But I mean, like, Dresden, didn't you color a lot of like the scrapbook stuff and thanks to them?
Yeah.
For that, like, because you had a lot of fun like stickers and like all sorts of like pride pins and stuff in there too. Like, you
Andy
did such
actually
a great
did
job
like
with all that
the
stuff.
scrapbook details and stuff. I just filled in the characters and like did the shading and stuff. But yeah, that was a really fun design.
So yeah, I've always been fascinated by the use of color for this series because it's one of the things that makes it really stand out, and like there's a lot of intricate detail that goes into the show with its very well refined palette. So Dresden, I would want to know, like, with how detailed the show is, like what inspired a lot of the color design choices that we see throughout the show that you were able to give.
Yeah, I'd say the Owl House has like a very cool palette. When you're in the demon realm, there's lots of reds, purples, blues, and that's reflected in the backgrounds and it's reflected in the characters. So it was like a small adjustment, like kind of getting used to that palette. You don't see like a lot of like neon yellows and oranges or greens.
Right.
And I think that kind of sets it apart from the human realm a little bit because the human realm's got those warm colors and browns and stuff. But yeah, lots of palettes that kind of lean towards purple and like gold and silver. Little color design trick for the Owl House: never pick just a pure gray. Put like a little bit of green in it, or put like a little bit of blue or a little bit of purple, and then like bam, it's like a whole new color. Just like little tips and tricks like that. There was a lot to learn about the magic and how they create the magic in animation, and how we give them like the settings in the animation to do it with. But yeah, lots of really fun designs to work on with the Owl House. It was a challenge and a lot of fun.
Were you able to, because in like the finale, watching and dreaming, like it definitely felt like the color was really popping off, like from everything that we saw from the beginning all the way to the end.
Yes.
What were like the pieces that you were able to like throw in for that finale?
Yeah, I did a ton of the Titan magic, the loose Titan magic.
Yeah, like the little black.
All that black and purple and gold. A lot of that was me, and it was really fun.
So wait, did you get
Dresden
did
did such a good job.
Were you the one who colored? Were you the one who colored the like the Luz and King sound wave together? Oh my god! Literally, I was gonna say like you seriously popped off with that because I remember like the design. I got to do like the design and design the actual magic, but I remember like seeing it like when it came on screen. I was blown away. It was literally so beautiful. Like you really like breathe that life into the design because without it, it was kind of just like not squiggly lines. I'm not gonna like talk myself down, but like the design is really just kind of like it's meh without the color. So like the color really sold it. Like you did phenomenal. I was really loving what I saw.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really excited that it animated so well because like it's a little hard sometimes when you're making like a still image to like show what the color design is going to be and you're just trusting the animators in post-production to carry it through, and they did phenomenal too. So I was really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, definitely.
It was so cool. I remember sitting in on those design reviews, and it was so smart because like you pulled the colors that we used from For the Future for Luz's magic, and you combined it with like the gold of the Titan magic, which was such a smart choice. But you also made this choice where like the wave blast, where like the front side was one color and then like the back side was the other color. So it's like you had like the black and purple in the front, like the gold in the back, and it just looked so cool when it's actually like animated. Thanks. It just worked out so well. But no, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was real interesting seeing how everything turned out in the finale with like Titan Luz and then her teaming up with King and then her teaming up with Harpy Ida as well. And like when they're standing on that little podium, it just all that magic's going off and everything. You're just seeing everything just pop. It's just honestly, that was just one of those amazing, like it just felt like an amalgamation, like all those moments when the animation just popped off in the series. Like it's just a full ride of all of that. Like that was honestly amazing work that I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was the Small Boo team came in there and animated that whole fungus sequence, and also like the Bellows fungus hands that like crawl out of the castle and all over the Boiling Isles. They also animated that, but they did some incredible work this whole episode, but specifically like that whole fight scene with the fungus in the stadium. But
it was a wonderful like collaboration between everyone. Like seeing everything just come together was so fantastic. When we were like watching it together on Discord, I was just so blown away between the like the storyboarding, like the cinematography that was used, from like the FX designs to the colors to the background. Everything just came together so beautifully, and it was really cool to be like, oh my god, I collaborated with these people and through like Zoom, no less. Like we did this all through through the pandemic. Like we did it all remote. Like that was just like clap it up, like fantastic. It was really, I know I keep repeating myself, but it was just like, it was so cool to see it all just come to fruition like that and be like, wow, this is like a collaboration like that we all labored into. And it was great to see everything just come together like that.
I found that, like you mentioned that you were working a lot through the pandemic for the series, and that's different that a show like this came out the way it did, even though it was it ended up becoming a work from home type of production. And I do wonder, it's like, was it a hard adjustment to get into that?
I mean, I mean, honestly, it's interesting for you three because you all started originally not from LA, right?
Yeah, I I was working remote from Cleveland the entire time, so like I broke into the industry from Zoom, not from Zoom, LOL. I broke in from the industry from home though, like, and it's kind of like I've been chilling at home the entire time, You
never had to go in to like work for it?
Yeah. Not yet. I'm actually moving to LA soon. I'm actually planning the move currently, but the last 2 years, the last couple of years though, like since I graduated from college, from like today, I've literally done everything has been through the computer, like, and it's worked very smoothly. Like I haven't had any complaints about it, but Yeah, it hasn't been weird for me. It wasn't weird for me because I started that way. It's going to be
Right.
weird for me to go into the office, though. It's going to be like, oh my God, I see everything, I see everyone. But it's going to be nice to be able to experience that culture of LA in animation and stuff. So
I also
anyway.
I also broke into the industry in 2020. So like the pandemic sort of, or sorry, was it 2021? I don't remember. But yeah, that the pandemic sort of created that opportunity for me to work from home. And yeah. So yeah, it's like Zharia said, like it's going to be weird
Same.
when I work in an office one day because I've never experienced that yet.
I'm legitimately kind of scared. Not like necessarily that it's going to be weird. I just like, I've been in my office, like working alone kind of for so long. It's like, how do I socialize? How do I function? You know what I'm saying? But it'll be fine. It's all the same thing. I feel like everyone has like that thought in the back of their brain a little bit. So
yeah,
it makes it a little less awkward, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike and I are kind of going through that like right now. Because when I got on Owl, I actually moved out here to LA before I got the job. And they were like, okay, we're going to head back like January in the new year in 2022. And they're just like, okay, February, March. April, and just kept getting pushed and pushed. I was like, okay, I'm guessing this is not going to happen. Which is like, I'm glad everyone's being safe. And they're taking safety precautions for that stuff. But yeah, like, I mean, Mike and I are still at DTVA, and it's, we're back working in the office, and it's like been an adjustment because like even though I was in LA, everything was on Zoom, even though like the studio was like super close to where I live. I'm just like, oh, it's so close yet so far. Right. But yeah, no, like getting back into the office, it's like you're kind of having to relearn some stuff and like adapt because it is like a bit of a different environment to be in rather than just right. At home at my desk. Like I love the social aspects of it, like seeing my coworkers in person, like being able to grab lunch with them. But my God, like sometimes it's so hard to focus when you just constantly hear like all these other meetings and all these other people, walking about the office. I'm like, sometimes it's just easier for me just to work from home and just like deep focus, my time here. So it's been an adjustment, but I mean, we're powering through.
That's kind of my fear a little bit. Like I'm going to be distracted because like I'm a freaking golden retriever. And if someone talks to me, I have no self-control. Like I will talk to you for hours.
That's like happened several times where I'm just like, I'm gonna say hi to so-and-so, and then it's just like 30 minutes later it's like, oh, I should really get back to my desk.
Got nothing done.
It like goes on like a little adventure, like we just go from
I know we're just like, I know, and like we end up like picking up like other people along the way. Like we like free posters, like there's this cabinet that just has like free posters. Do you want us to like show you that? And so like we'll just take these people like around the office, like here you can find this here and there's this thing back here. But yeah, I mean it's fun. That's the stuff that we missed out on, but also it's not always great for being super productive.
I will say though, it's like it's very nice being in office because back in Zoom, because I also started in 2020 during the pandemic, and it's like, say I needed to like, get a meeting with like my director and on Owl House, and it's like, oh, let me know like 30 minutes to an hour beforehand so we can set up a Zoom call and put on the schedule instead of just like walking over. And now it's like I can do that. I can just walk over to my director's office and just be like, hey, you're not doing anything. Can I like, I'm not saying that like, hey, you're not doing anything like right now. Like, can we just like talk real quick? And they're like, yeah. And it's just like boom, bang, like in a minute, whatever. And then it's like, but I do like, it's also, again, the distraction thing, but it's also like, I'm just blessed that I have a cubicle that's like the computer's like kind of facing the corner and you can't like see out of the cubicle. So I'm just like, I do not see it. Like I'm just in my own little zone, just doing my work. And then I'll just hear like an occasional knock like, hey, let's go grab lunch. Let's go get a free poster. Like, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like, let's go. But I really do love working from office. It definitely has like its benefits over working.
I've heard like constantly from some, it's like they enjoy the work from home aspect, others enjoy the office space, and it has been a case of wondering which is the best options in this day and age. And obviously the pandemic opened Pandora's box to make us realize, oh, a lot of this work could be done remotely, and also it has thankfully opened up opportunities for a lot of people who live, like, say, on the East Coast or so, and it's like they want to get into the industry, but it's like, I don't have the money to go to LA, or I don't have the money to move. But it is interesting to see that it's like a good product was able to come out of something where a lot of people were forced to stay home, but thankfully people were able to work because they had computers that were able to handle what they needed to get done for this type of show.
The animation industry really carried during the pandemic, like, for the entertainment industry, like.
I'm saying
absolutely,
it was like the only thing that could really be like done from home, like without any contact. It, like, legit, it carried the entertainment industry because it was the only thing that could still be like produced and function.
Right.
But yeah,
like that, and I think that's something people need to. A lot of the heads. I speak for myself. I'm not speaking for y'all. I don't want y'all getting in trouble or nothing. But like, just some of these executives can learn something that is like, animation ain't no joke. Like, let's face it. It like y'all said, it was carrying the whole industry on its back. It's owed some respect. It really is owed a lot of respect by the fact that it's able to carry itself, even in the face of disaster. You know, like, that's just something that's a testament. The fact that this show came out the way it did, even though a lot of people had to work home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just amazing. Really, like, y'all deserve the flowers. You very much all deserve the flowers.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, the pandemic was hard. And I mean, all of us, said that we came on, being fans of the show. But I really do feel that, like, Owl House, like, as, awful as a situation as the pandemic was, like, I feel that just, like, the Owl House was kind of like a show that was, like, needed during that time, because it was just, like, a show that I think people used to escape and just kind of, like, turn their mind off of things for a bit. And, like, I'm super grateful for that. But yeah, like, the pandemic also just offered opportunities for people to work, because it was like the one thing in entertainment that could kind of still function and work. And so, like, because everyone was working remote, it didn't matter where you were. So I think, like, the pandemic has also just kind of, like, broadened people's views on, like, who can get employed. But I mean, even on Owl House, we had artists who were in a different country. Matthew Cousin, who's been on the show since, like, the very, very beginning, since before the show was greenlit, all the way till, the finale, lives in Sweden. Sylvie Park, who is one of our background artists for season 2 and season 3, lives in South Korea. Lena Schlatter lives in Germany, and she was a character designer on the show. Don Han was one of our storyboard artists. She lives in Korea too. So it's just like, I mean, there's plenty of cases where you don't have to live in LA. Like, I feel like if you look a couple years back, everyone would be like, you have to live in LA. You have to be in LA if you want to get a job in the animation industry. But I think now, and especially with the pandemic, we're seeing like, oh, like, we don't have to. That doesn't have to be the case, because now, like, I think we're just going to be in like a permanent hybrid situation going forward now in the industry. So I'm glad that people will get the opportunity to break in. For those who aren't, LA based.
That was something I was fearful that maybe they, like, after the pandemic, like, people like would decide, okay, now back to normal, everything, you have to come to LA. But thankfully it seems like they learned that it's best to have it so it's a hybrid system versus just the old ways where less people were able to get in and felt way too gatekeepy for something that's so creative and a lot of people can get into and make some good stuff, and thankfully give you some new ideas as well.
And it's honestly just like the elitism of, like, you have to be in LA. It's just shooting yourself in the foot. These studios are these studios shooting themselves in the foot, because it's like you said, we had like Lena, who was in Germany doing fantastic work, and everyone's just like all over the United States, all over the world, like, and we all came together to make like something fantastic like this. And it's like, I just couldn't imagine like the Owl House without, like everyone who like working from, I don't know how to say it correctly, but you know what I'm saying? Like everyone working from like all over
Yeah.
the world like this. Like it was, and we did it so smoothly. It's like, what's the excuse now? What's the excuse to not allow people to work these hybrids other than just like flat out like elitism? Like we've proven that it works. So I think it would be a shame that like if things kind of do, because it does seem like things have kind of stayed like in this hybrid like Rebecca stated, but it would really be a shame, like in the coming future, as things return more to normal, like that it returns to that old model of like, you have to be in LA. I really hope it stays with this hybrid forever, because like even me moving to LA later this year, like that's completely optional. I'm really doing it because I'm doing it for the plot. But like but otherwise, like I'm doing it for the character. I'm doing it for like the character development.
Right.
I want to have an adventure, but like I don't have to do that. Like my production has been very like we don't care. You can not, they don't want to say what can work anywhere, but they're like, we don't care as long as you like you meet your deadlines. Like we don't have no problems with that, and I'm really grateful for that. And I'm scared to leave them because I'm like, I feel like no one else is doing that, but it's like I'm afraid of running into people who are like, no, we don't want to take a chance on you. You're too far away. We want to be able to, like, so anyway, long story short, I just really hope that we continue this hybrid model. Like it's honestly the best option for animation.
I think that's something we thankfully realized. That's like animation, like there's a lot of hidden gems in terms of artists and writers and editors, everything, productions and such, that are able to, and animation is able to work across the board past what live action couldn't do. Like live action is, you have to be there, but thankfully with animation, it's like you can be anywhere and you can be in this industry. And I think that we're hopefully at a really good standard to just keep along with the hybrid system.
Yeah. And it's honestly, it's inspiring because I like on TikTok, for example, sometimes I make like artist self-help every now and then. And like one of my number one comments that I get is like, oh, this only applies to Americans. And it's really sad because it's like at the time back then when I was like, this is like during like the height of the pandemic at the time, I'm like, damn, you're kind of right. Like it does kind of like just only like apply to Americans, some of these things, but it's like, it's really cool. I really hope like this hybrid stays, because like having everyone from all over the world contribute to this show and for it to come out the way it did, like there's just like, there's no excuse for us to not, continue that model.
Definitely. So I do want to get into this one question I had was, what would you all say was the difficult aspect of your respective jobs for the series?
Who wants to go first?
Put y'all on the spot.
I would probably just I like really thought like every part of my job was just fun, because I'm just like, I fucking love these characters and shit, and just drawing and all that. But I'd probably say like the hardest part is just like starting it. Just like say like after I get the script, go at it and start boarding or start rough boarding. It's just like you have all these ideas in your head, and it's just like so hard to like perfectly put those ideas into an actual drawing. But you just like as soon as you start it, it just kind of flows, and you'll just eventually like drawing after drawing after drawing. But it's just like just starting it is just probably the hardest part. But
yeah, I imagine it's always like just getting started is always a big block for everybody. Like it's just that one layer of difficulty that you just have to push through it in order to finally just get in the hang of it.
Just like do it.
Just do it.
Just do it, and then you'll do it.
I mean, I was on the production side of things, so it wasn't like the artistic side of or creative side of things. It was like the managing side of things when making a show. So I think that the biggest thing is just like communication and just tracking where everything is, because production is, you know, the department that touches each step of the pipeline and is tracking what, you know, stage everything's at. Like, have we turned everything in? Do we have the most updated scripts for, you know, the voice actors? Like, do we need to, you know, schedule another design review for stuff to get approvals through so we can hit this deadline, you know, for shipping overseas and stuff like that. So that was probably just like the most difficult thing, was just managing everything, because when I hopped on, they were in post-production on S2B, which was Follies at the Coven Day Parade onwards, while we were in pre-design, like pre-production on season 3. So it's like we were juggling like 2 different seasons at the same time that were like in different stages of the process. So it's like, you know, I'd be hopping in for like a voiceover record for like a season 2 episode, and then like hopping in for like a season 3 like design review. So yeah, that was probably just like the most difficult thing, was just like juggling all the different balls that you need to in the air, to make sure everything's going smoothly, to make sure everything gets delivered on time. But I mean, like Mike said though, like, this show is just so much fun to work on that it was just like, it made it so much easier than I think if I was on like another production or like another show. Because I mean, like, this was it. This was season 3. This was like the finale. This was like the big thing. So I think everyone just kind of had the same mentality of just like, all right, we're going to come together. We're going to knock this out of the park, and we're going to make this like just kick-ass, you know, final season for this show. So yeah. So I mean, it has its, you know, rough days, but I think everyone would agree that it was just kind of all worth it in the end for what they did on the show.
Yeah, I think like we all, you know, can love what we work on, but I feel like Owl House for all of us was just like such an important thing. Like, we wanted it to look as best as possible, and like just come out on TV as best as possible. Like,
for sure,
really put our heart into it.
Yeah, there was a lot of pride that went into everything that we did. You could really see, like, with every design review, like, you could tell that people were just like giving it 110% every time. And it was just like, I was like, back then, I think I'll go now, but back then I was a baby designer, and like I had just kind of joined the like I had just become a prop designer only a few months prior to that, to joining. So it was really difficult to kind of like, I mean, I guess for me, like, the most difficult thing was being in this room or this Zoom room with all like these amazing artists who had been working in the industry for forever, and kind of like getting over that, essentially a little bit of artist ego, where it's like getting over that like self-consciousness a little bit, because like I was a baby designer, and I wanted to impress everybody, and it's like, you know, like it was a little hard that way, but it was also a little difficult, I think. Like, I think something that I really struggled with at first was realizing I don't have to follow the boards so closely. Because as a designer, like, you kind of like get these boards, and then you're supposed to take it and like fluff it up, you know? And like sometimes like the boards are already so fluffed up. It's like, damn, how do I, you know, but you still kind of have to like give it a little bit of your own spin. You know what I'm saying? So like it was like hard, like the first few times, because I remember like in design reviews, like Dana would specifically say like, hey, the board artists aren't designers. You're the designer. I'm like, oh, you're right. I'm the designer. You're right. My bad, fam. I got you. And I think like I like really learned that after the like the glove I had mentioned, that was removing the coven sigils towards the end. And like the magic, I remember Dana specifically was like, you can do your own thing. Like, you don't have to follow this board so closely. And like, that changed my life. Like, since then, like I have tried to be like, if I can, I try to add as much like personality as I can without making it too much, you know, outside of what the original idea was, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
But,
yeah, because that's always something interesting to me, is that, because I thought this type of show would be a difficult work, because I always felt like this show might be difficult to work on because of all that intricate detail. But then from what y'all say, it's like it's a bit more, it could be a bit free flowing on how certain things can go. Like, you can put just a particular thing that you just like into it, and that's usually okay. Like that's, I don't know. I find that like a little seems relieving, I guess. Like you could argue in a sense that it's like, okay, you don't have to follow things one to one. You can actually, it's literally willing to let you express yourself and put something of you into it, you know?
Yeah, I really appreciated that too. I really appreciate it. It's like because the board artists obviously have like they breathe their own life into it, and then you basically can take that and then you can like plus it, and then color takes it and then they plus it, and it's just like
Yeah.
a series of just plussing and plussing and plussing. And I think that's what makes it just so cool, because it's like so collaborative. Like an idea that you had, like a board artist had like 5 months ago, like 5 months later has become like something, it's the same, like the bones are still there, but it's like something totally different. Like the colors are wicked, and like the shape is just really cool, and it's like it's just such a cool collaborative experience.
It is.
I know
yeah.
I keep saying that, but like I mean it's true. It's like
But
it's such a, yeah, it's a really cool collaborative experience. And I hope anybody who's listening to the podcast, like any student, like this inspires them to like not, because I feel like I feel like a lot of students are afraid of expressing themselves, and like, oh, I feel like if I work for a studio, I am stuck in this specific style, or I'm stuck, like I don't have any creative freedom. And I hear that a lot, like they're afraid of losing their creative freedom, and there is creative freedom. You just have to like remember that it's still a collaboration. That's all. It's not like a lack of creative freedom.
Right.
It's just more collaborative. It's just not just you.
I
It's
think
all
that's
of
something
us.
that's always important to understand about these type of works, is that it's all about collaboration. No one person is running the whole thing by themselves. It's never even just one individual person's vision. Sure, you have a creator, but they're also going to get a team together that's going to put their own input in as to how the show is going to look, how it's going to sound, how it's going to play out, and everything. And that's just something that's important to know before trying to get into this medium, that it is very collaborative. It is very much, you're going to be talking to this person, that person, they're going to be talking to you, and you're going to be running stuff back and forth. And you're all going to have to try to make it all work properly and be cohesive, you know? And I think Owl House works in that regard, because everything feels like there was really good communication going back and forth from everybody, and you can see it all from all the intricate details, how the characters are designed, how the music's playing and everything, how the scenes are playing out and everything. That I think that's just something that's very important to always recognize, the collaborative effort.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. And I want to give a shout out to, for our design phase, our art director, Andy Garner Flexner. Incredible art director.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. The thing
He
about
really
Andy
is.
that I love the most is that Andy trusts all of his designers.
Yes.
Like, obviously there's like the Owl House like show style and stuff like that the designers will have to follow, but as long as the artists are like within that show style, Andy was always so encouraging of people putting their own spin on things. Like I remember for like color designs, like our color team Dresden would have like all these different color options and stuff like that. Like we love seeing color options. And like Dana would love it too. She'd be like, ooh, there's like 4 options, for Gus's outfit or whatever, like different types of magic. It was always just so much fun just seeing what like everybody came up with. But that was like, I think the biggest thing was just like, none of our designers were like bound to the Owl House style and you had to do this specific thing. Everyone just, trusted everyone to do their job, because that's what they're there to do, is to do their job. And just everyone just took it and absolutely ran with it, and that's why the show looks as amazing as it does, is because we had that trust and communication with each other.
Andy like was incredibly patient with me, and I really just like appreciate that, because again, like I was terrified with every design review. I was like, this, like, am I even like good enough to be here right now? Like it's just like I was like, my heart was like pumping, and it was just like every single time I never was made to feel like, I never felt like I was getting roasted. Like in art school, I feel like critiques can get a little a little, people who've been to art school know what's up. Like critiques can get a little nasty sometimes, like emotionally, but like I never felt like that like once, now I'm a year wiser and I've been doing this, like I've gone from junior to mid-level. When I look back, I'm like, even if like I look at like previous revisions and I'm like, oh, this didn't really have 110% in it. Like I never was made to feel like your work is trash, kid, like get lost, like stuff like that. Like it was always extremely like supportive, extremely a lot of patience. And I just it was a dream production, honestly. Like I never was made to feel like I was fucking up. Excuse me. Like even when it wasn't like great, he was like, it was always constructive. And that was just the best part. So yes, huge shout out to Andy and Dana. Like they were incredibly patient and just dreams to work with.
Yeah.
I think the same too is like just the trust part, especially on like the story side too. Like if something's like not in the script, like pretty much like all the directors, like in Dana, if you just wanted to add something in the boards in the rough portion and like see if it goes over well, like they would just like super support and be like, yeah, like let's like add that, like change this or that. And if sometimes if it didn't, it's just take it out in the rough part. But they were like super supportive of just like whatever you want. I think it just comes down to like I felt like everybody on the show just like kind of like where everyone was like on the same like wavelength of just like what we were thinking about and just like trusting each other. And it's like another part of just how much I love working on this show.
Yeah, I definitely get a feeling that this was a very fun production to be on, because I always see people pointing out all the stuff that they were able to put into it and show such pride in the work. And then also pointing out all the people they got to work with and communicate with to be able to bring everything to life for the series. It just always screamed, this is people's passion and they're letting it be known, and they're showing that they definitely are having fun doing this. I think that's something that's really nice to come out of this series, that it feels like people enjoyed making it.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. And like, again, going back to like, a lot of us have never met in person and we were all work from home. So it's like the fact that feeling comes off, I think just shows like how impactful this show is and just like how badly the crew just wanted to make it the best it could possibly be.
Yeah. I think everyone had like very fantastic artistic chemistry with each other. Yeah. It just worked.
Thankfully, it all came together really well. I do want to ask Dresden, what would you say was your favorite piece of color design that you were able to work on for this series?
Oh man, there's so many that pop up in my head when I think about it. Like there was so much fun stuff to work on, but I think one of the very first pieces I did was the "Hi, I'm Bi" drawing that Luz makes, and that was just such a fun like introduction to working on the Owl House and being a part of that, cartoon history moment. It was really fun, and also kind of like getting back in touch with my 15-year-old self and how I used to draw and like trying to channel that. But yeah, that was really fun. I love the giraffe, the demon giraffe. Anything Lumity, anything Huntlow. Like I did the blushing and the hand holding.
Whoa!
Andy knew what he was doing. Andy and Sean were like, "Yeah, give all this to Dresden.
So
They'll knock it out of the park."
For that ship, basically.
Wait, Dresden, were you so you did like the blush after the
I did
the
both
pinky
of those.
hold, right? With Hunter, is that what you did?
The pinkies with like.
Bless you! I didn't even know that. Bless you. This is amazing.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff. I also really enjoyed doing the clothing, like just the alternate outfits that they have in the human realm, and I did a ton of the children from the school, like their punk outfits in episode 2. I did a bunch of those with Shauna and Sean, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun doing like outfits and fashion too. And then, like I mentioned before, the Luz Titan magic was really cool and fun to work on.
That is something fascinating I found with the series, is that there's all these different unique costume designs for every character. And that's not something you usually get. A lot of time it's just you're stuck with the base costume design, base colors and everything. But what we saw, like, we got a whole plethora of different costumes that people absolutely fell in love with. Like, so many people would draw every time somebody saw a new costume. It's like, new costume, gotta draw it. New costume, gotta draw it. It really is interesting that it was able to do that with this type of series.
Yeah, the poor cosplayers are going.
The poor guy, they're just scrambling. I mean, a lot of that. I mean, I know we had a shortened, season 3, so I think part of it was just like, let's try and just like cram as many different outfits as we can into this season. But also, Dana is like an amazing character designer.
Yeah.
And so I think she kind of just jumps at any opportunity to like, do a different outfit. And like, I mean, Matthew Cousin, I think, was the one who did a lot of the costumes for all the kids in season 3. And like, Matthew has been with the show like since the very beginning, so it's like he's been drawing these characters for years at this point. So, but yeah, I mean, it's always fun just like seeing them just like progressively, like, and even before like the time skip and everything like that, just see them like get older, like Amity's hair is growing out and like her roots are growing out, like Willow's hair is a little bit longer in her braids. It's just like little things like that just like actually makes it feel like these are actual characters, like people like growing up, instead of just like same outfit every single episode, looks the same throughout the entire show. It's nice just to kind of see that growth, and I think just makes you feel more connected to them. But yeah, the costume and outfit designs were always awesome, and just like seeing all the different versions of like different colors we would get was always just so much fun in design reviews.
Yeah. I miss Luz's ponytail in like those 2 episodes.
Oh yeah, the little
the 2 episodes. I know, it really like showed up for 2 episodes. But
and then it was just like gone in season 3.
It's because her hair got longer. It just grew out even more. But yeah, no, Luz always had some nice looks throughout the whole show. Yeah. But
yeah.
So I do want to ask Zharia, what was a prop that you felt was tricky to get down? Because we definitely see a lot of intricate props throughout the whole show, but what do you feel was like a prop that's like, okay, I'm struggling a little bit with making?
I don't think I actually, like, I thought hard about this. I don't think I really struggled too much with too many props. I think the only thing I really struggled with, like I kind of mentioned it briefly before, but like the only thing I like really struggled with was just like the fact that you don't have to follow the board so closely. And that is where I started running into a lot of issues revision wise. Because like I would follow the board so close, it would just be kind of like a cleaner version, like a carbon copy of what was on the boards, which made a very not a boring show, no offense to any board artist, but I'm just saying like it didn't have that Owl House like pizzazz, you know what I'm saying? So like, for example, like the banner, I remember the banner that says like Happy Quinceañera, and it has like, first of all, I had to revise it 1,000 times because I kept spelling it weird because we had to figure out like the spelling of it. But also like, I remember like in a review, like Andy was like, okay. And that wasn't good enough for me. Like he was like, yeah, and it just wasn't good enough for me. Like I wanted, it made me feel like, not that he like made me feel like sad or anything, but it was more like, okay, what I'm hearing is, okay, that's good enough. And like, I don't want it to be good enough. I need it to be like I want it to be fun, you know? So like, I remember I revised it and I added like little stars and I made it Like I like for the self color, I made it like purple, like just like give it a little bit more fun. I think another prop that I think I might have followed very closely to the boards was the ice slide, which is weird because in the final cut, the ice slide, I think like for like I think it was a little too detailed. Maybe I'm not really sure why, but I don't think the ice slide ended up making it into the final. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think
the
like
ice slide.
Yeah, no one knows.
It's the ice slide that Gus's palisman slides down when Hunter puts the glyph down.
Yeah.
I don't think you get to see like I don't think you get to see like the big like it zoomed out. I think it's like a very close up shot of it.
It's very close. It's very close. So no, it's there. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. It's there, but it's like it's cut in very close. But like I remember like I posted the full thing on like my Twitter or whatever if anyone wants to see, but like the full ice slide has like ice crystals and stuff. And that was weird because like around this time I'm still kind of learning some things. I'm still like learning how the style, and I'm also learning like how like to draw crystals and like certain things that have been canonical like established in the show, making sure that it matches up, like that was a little hard. But other than that, like everything was like it wasn't like technically difficult. It was just like adding the creativity so that it pleases not only Dana and Andy, but it pleases myself. Like I feel like I actually did something cool and I actually contributed something like it's not just like a prop I made for the show. It's me, like it's a part of me that I've done, and it doesn't feel like just like a copy of the board. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. That was like establishing or tapping into that creativity and making sure that like it's still my prop was I think the hardest thing. But ever since I got over that hurdle though, everything that I do for work for Disney has a little bit more like oomph, if that makes any sense. Like it totally changed the way I work. Once Dana told me like you don't have to follow the board, blew my mind. And now like it totally has changed the way I work. Like everything is just like a lot more detailed and it has a little bit more love in it, and I'm not afraid to overstep and to ham it up, so but yeah, no, I'm very grateful for that note, because if I had never gotten that note I would probably still be just like cleaning boards essentially.
Totally get that.
So
like I think that's like once you finally find out it's like, oh, you can take the gloves off, like you could take the restraints off. It's like it just starts feeling like a breeze to get through it now, because now your mind's like, oh, I can just run free.
Yeah, Dana and Andy literally let me run wild with pretty much every prop, and I just really appreciate that. I really appreciate that trust, like we said earlier, and that just patience also, like that was just really cool. And like I don't even think they even realize like how much they've changed my career, how that like they've changed the way I work, and like like I think it was such a, even though I was on the show for such a short amount of time, I was only on the show for like 4 weeks, maybe like a month, because I was on like the last episode doing props, but it taught me so much. Like I'm just incredibly grateful for the feedback and like the patience. And
So I do want to ask this for everyone, and maybe this might be another case of putting y'all on the spot, but who would y'all say is your favorite character?
Oh no.
No.
Ooh.
All of them.
I love it.
Literally all of them. So we got to do these gallery nucleus pieces. Everyone that was on the show was invited to draw something for the nucleus gallery. I started with like the main cast. I started with the main cast here. And Hooty's like wrapped up all of them in a hug. And then I was like, oh, I want to add like the coven leaders, and then like, oh, I'll add their parents, and oh, I'll throw Kikimora in there too. It became like literally like I want to say 60 some of the characters, like everyone but Bellows, so basically.
So crazy.
It's just like I love all of them, and I want to draw all of them.
That was so good though.
It was so good. I remember you saying like progress based on that. I was like, oh my god. Like just why? You didn't have to, but you did.
But you did. You went and you did it. You went so
You
hard.
did
Did it for
Like-
us. Did it for us. Did it for the fans. Love
I did
it.
see people like taking pictures of that afterward. They're like, look, Gus is looking in Nathaniel's direction. That means they're going to be canon.
Love it.
Oh my god.
You're right. I was
Oh my
subconsciously
God.
shipping it.
So many were shipping that.
Didn't even
What do you
know.
mean? The plan all along.
Sam Keston actually did have a spoiler in there because they did the worm house. They did like a diorama of like a bowel house, but with the little like weird fluffy worm thingies.
Yeah.
One of the little
Oh my
crumbled up
God.
pieces of paper had string bean on it.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
but it's no, but
Did
like, it was
nobody-
intentional. Nobody saw it.
No. Oh,
It was like
nice.
hidden.
Nice.
It was like
Funny.
hidden because I think Sam also put like Lego Ida like in there, and so everyone was like, "Oh, Lego Ida, ha ha ha!" And they
Like
didn't
to
even know that
distract them.
there was yeah, they didn't even know that there was a spoiler because it was like a crumpled up piece of paper like on the floor, but no
Oh
one
my
saw it.
God.
But I thought that was cute how Sam added that in there. But yeah, favorite character. I'll be more mean and pick a favorite. I've already always been like a big Luz Amity
Yes.
fan. I've liked both of their characters since like very early on in the beginning of the show. And just to see their relationship grow was super
Yeah.
sweet and heartwarming. And I love them so much. And I just hope that they're always happy because they're adorable.
So true.
So, yeah.
Mine is definitely Hooty. I definitely have a favorite. It will always be Hooty. Hoot, hoot, hoot. I love the way he cries. When he cries, he really says, hoot, 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 hoot. It's literally the best thing ever. And a lot of people don't know, but Hooty has a twin brother, and his name is Booty, which is like fantastic. You know, like I
Is
love
this
Hooty
real?
so much.
Canon?
Like, no, yeah, Dana, I don't know if it's canon or not. Like, Dana, like, made a joke about it on Reddit or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's, like, my favorite piece of Owl House lore. But I love Hooty. Hooty, when I was doing, like, for the end credits scene, when I was doing, like, props for that, there's museum plans that Lilith is laying out. And Hooty is like the curator.
Yeah.
And like I made him
Yeah.
a curator because of course he is. Like he got a promotion and like of course he's a Nepo baby now. Literally he's a Nepo baby now. And he's my Nepo baby. So no, I love Hooty. He's like
Wasn't
the
that
best.
a note that you got? Dana was like, hey, you could like add some like little fun like doodles
Yeah.
and drawings and stuff like that and like
Mhm.
notes and stuff. Because I remember I think the first pass it was just like the map and Dana was like, you should add some stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what
I
ended
was-
up being in the final episode.
Yes, like that's another thing, like what I was saying earlier, like just giving me that creative freedom to do whatever I want. Because again, like I was playing it very safe because I didn't want to come in with all my weird fangirl ideas because everyone knew that I was a fan before, and I wasn't aware that there were so many fans who had like come to work on the show. So I didn't know that was like just the culture. But at first I was like, I cannot let them know that I am a fan of the show. I have to be as professional as possible. Yeah, I'm gonna be super literally that. So no, yeah, I really appreciate that. Like Hooty is the curator, and it's like all thanks to Dana. But like I'm really happy that she let me do that because like I can imagine a universe where Hooty is not the curator, you know?
Yeah. A fun Hooty line that got sort of cut. Alex improv this in the record session. It's when Hooty was at the very end when everyone says bye. And so like Alex being Alex, of course, was gonna like improv a bit. I knew this line was not gonna make it into the final cut. But he like says bye. He's like, bye. He's like, wow, what a show! What an ending! It's time for my spinoff now! Here it comes! Hoot! And I was like, there's no way this is going to make it into the final episode. But it was just so great. I was like, I wish in an alternate universe that line could have
that'd be a hell of a line to go out on.
Well, I just like that. It's like, here comes my spinoff. Black screen.
Good improv disappointment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love Hooty. He's the best.
Yeah.
Such a what a character that has such growth. just like from being just like the comic relief. Such depth to him.
He's such a deep character. He really gets. He
really is one of those characters you wouldn't expect to be as great as he is. I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like once knocking on Hooty's door aired, like there was just like this flip in the fandom of everyone's like, Hooty's the best character.
Hooty literally is the best. They're completely right.
How about you, Mike? Favorite character?
Characters?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, like I feel like Hunter is my favorite character just because like I like just had so much stuff with him and I get kind of like detached and he's just a sad little boy and it just I just love everything about him and like his growth, but then also like Willow and just the two of them working off each other is like so good. They like just have such good, maybe other people don't think of it, I think it, I just think they have such good chemistry and like who they are is like, you know, these powerless witches or not even a witch, like a hunk of wood Grimwalker thing. Like, and they just can so relate to each other.
Boy.
Bro was grown in a lab. But yeah, those two are definitely like my favorite, and I wish I had more Willow stuff, but I'm really glad I got like a lot of Hunter stuff in the show, and he's just like I love him. Yeah.
I just think it's funny that you got like Any Sport in a Storm as your first episode, and it's like, oh, the fun
like,
sports episode, and then you got Hollow Mind immediately after
what
that.
A roller coaster.
It was so funny because Amelia, my director, was literally like after we finished Sport in a Storm, I was like, that was fun. I like Hunter. I hope nothing bad happens to him. And then Amelia's like okay, guys. Like she was like, okay, guys, that was probably the last like heartfelt episode of the entire show, and also Hunter gets sucked into the ground and maybe dies. Let's do this again now. Let's go.
Just for him to finally get a really happy episode, and the next one is like, oh yeah, we're about to traumatize you, boy.
Yep.
Bro, I'm gonna panic attack.
It's a pattern I feel with a lot of our characters. It's like, oh, you feeling happy? You feeling good? Like, here's some trauma. Here you go.
That happened twice to Hunter. Twice! Bro was happy twice and then traumatized twice. Like, I feel like they're like, I'm glad it ended on a high note. He's happy. Nothing bad had ever happened in his life.
Hopefully. I'd imagine after all that, like he definitely earned like a break from all that crap.
He has waffles now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, waffles.
He does.
Exactly. Good old.
Very
I feel like we were like kind of crowdsourcing names and like the designer view, like in chat. We're like, oh, what would Hunter's newest palisman name be? And like we had like some weird ones, but I think Waffles was the one that we ended up sticking with.
I think I don't. This was like way early on in the boards, but I think someone said like hotcakes.
That's cute.
Hotcakes.
Like, they were just thinking of like synonyms for like flapjacks and pancakes.
Just different
like,
breakfast foods.
Hash browns.
Huevos rancheros.
That'd be such a different name. Hash brown.
HR.
Yeah.
HR.
That would be hard.
My pals from HR.
Every time it's like you're on a mission, it's like report this to HR. It's like, wait, why am I in trouble?
Twinkle, That's exactly what a bird sounds like. Twika twika.
Oh man.
I'm very satisfied with the name Waffles, though.
Yeah,
yes.
Waffles is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cute.
I do want to know, with how short-lived the series was there any particular things that any of you wish could have been implemented?
Yeah.
Hooty backstory? When?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hooty backstory.
Yeah.
I would have loved to like learn more about like the Blight family, like Edric, Emra, like Odalia, Alador, and just kind of like what their family dynamic was. Also, like Odalia, like what happened to Odalia?
Right.
Like, how did you end up this way? Why are you like this? Like, what happened in your childhood? Like, I was always so curious to know like what made her get to this point. So yeah, I always would have loved to see more with the whole Blight family. More about like old Gravesfield and like, you know, Caleb, Philip, Evelyn, that whole thing. Would have loved to see more of that too. I think that'd been a lot of fun. I'm glad that we got to like tell that story in Hollowmind, you know, in the background pictures. But man, I would have loved like to delve more into that.
Yeah.
I wanted more of you know, I like all the Coven heads, but I just also really, because I wanted what's her name with the macaroni noodle head?
Oh, Hetty Cutburn.
Yeah. Like her design is so cool with the nails and the mask, and I was like, bro, this is the background character. I need more of
I
her.
know,
like,
no voice
and
line,
I know J-Bo said something about that whole cut thing with her, but like that's what I wish. There was just
that's how I felt about the Coven head with the really tall hat. Like he was peak character design for me, and I was like, I want to know more.
I
think I really was
stinky
to see more what their whole deal was.
Yeah, I mean, I think like in general, like I've seen a lot of fans like, oh man, I wish they had more time for this, and we're just like, yeah, same. Like we wish we also had more time for that. But
I really would have loved to see a lot more Rada, the ship name, Ida and Rain. Yeah, I would have loved to see like a lot more of that. I know I feel like their story was pretty fleshed out. I just like wish we had, I don't know. I'm always, people don't like filler episodes. I love filler episodes of TV shows and stuff. So like, I would have loved to see just like them going on a date and not fighting, you know, just like doing it like we're not fighting, but like, you know, disagreeing or breaking up, you know, like I would just love to have seen them just interacting with each other more,
just having a nice time.
As a couple, and not like the build up, you know,
not
just
being
like
traumatized.
Like not having to fight for their lives, or you know, that would have been cool.
I think one thing I wish we could have seen a little bit more was like V in the human realm, like her adjusting, or like see her with Camila more, like see if they could form more of a bond, because I'm pretty sure it's implied that Camila pretty much adopted V at this point, especially by the ending.
Totally.
Yeah, we would have loved to, you know, spend more time with all these characters, but you know, season 3 the way it was just kind of like, okay, Luz is our main character, so we have to wrap up Luz's story, and by extension, like King and Ida, so that was kind of like main focus. But I mean, the fact that like people are so interested in these characters and like want to see more of them, I feel like speaks a lot to, you know, the crew on this show for creating characters that even though they don't get like all the screen time we would have wanted, that people are still interested and, you know, want to learn more about them and spend more time with them.
Oh totally. I do want to ask also, what do you all feel was that major draw for this type of series? I know a good chunk of y'all were fans of the series yourselves, so I guess you'd be speaking more to what drew you in as well.
Oh man,
I just feel like, and this is just completely like it happened at the time, and that's how it was. I just feel like as a fan, like somewhat chronically online at the time, it was just like I need to be like in a community that's not dying. So look at this hot new show that's like story driven and has a lot of fans. Like I think I'll hop on that. Like, and it's that's
the one.
That's what, like, you know, Steven Universe died, and now
I mean, like Future like literally just ended, and then like Owl House was like 10 episodes in, maybe something like that, like super brand new, and the pandemic was right around the corner, so people are like, well, I'm at home all the time and I need a new show to fill the hole in my heart, and that show just ended up being Owl House.
That is so crazy. You would say hole in my heart specifically, because I remember I was looking through like my Instagram stories at the time when I was in college, because I was a senior in art school, like wrapping up, And I literally had a post like of me like watching on this computer that I'm on right now, like a picture of this computer of like, it was like a screenshot of an episode, and it literally said like, the Owl House is filling the hole in our hearts that Steven Universe left, because literally Steven's Future had just wrapped up, and I was super emotional because I grew up with that show. Like from 2013, I was like a freshman in high school back then. So like from 2013 to like me being like graduating from art school, it was like emotional, you know. And like Owl House definitely was that show that like helped, like got me through the pandemic the first couple months, you know. So yeah, it was definitely like definitely felt the hole that Steven Universe left, and it was a big one.
I was actually drawn to it because I had been following Dana's work for years, since like Gravity Falls, and I remember being really excited that she was coming out with an original show. I love serialized shows, like shows with story, and I watched a lot of those like charity streams that she would do. And I remember this was before the Owl House had even aired. Like all we'd seen was like a poster, and she was like, I'm gonna drop a character design once we get to like this many donations and stuff. And she did. She showed Amity's design, and immediately I was like, Luz is gonna be bi. That's gonna be Amity's girlfriend. I'm calling it now. I am calling it now.
You were ahead of the whole.
I was on it. I saw the green hair, the pierced ears, and the scowl on her face, and I was like, she's gonna be the love interest.
Right.
And like Luz was like all happy, and Luz was like, hooray! And like Amity was all like aloof.
Yes.
I remember that drawing.
I'd been excited for it ever since I saw like the promo art, basically, and watching from episode 1. And Dana had been like very vocal in years prior about wanting, you know, LGBTQ plus content, and now that she had her own show, I was like, I certainly hope like that they're gonna let her do that. And I have faith that she will, and she did, and it, you know, was so special.
Yeah, you got to color stuff in their show. Like, how like crazy is that? Like the High on By, you got to.
I mean, I was literally making like Lumity fan art like the year before, and I actually did fan art of them in Azura and Hecate's costumes for Halloween. Like it was just like an idea.
Dana saw that, was just like, let's bring Dresden on, and we'll just use that in the show. But yeah,
I think like I have a combination of Dresden and Mike's like influence, or not influence, like reasoning for joining the cast and crew. I really like, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I think like for me joining, obviously like I really love Steven Universe, and like Owl House was kind of like similar, but I really also had been following, not for too much before Owl House, but when Owl House I heard got greenlit, I did some research and I like fell in love with Dana's art, and I was like a total fangirl for her artwork, because like it was just like this really cool like Dana is an amazing artist. She has like a very like hardcore grasp on anatomy and perspective, like, you know, like obviously the building blocks for good art, but like it just like always has so much, like it's powerful somehow, like, and like the way she draws like folding fabric is just amazing.
Hands and folding fabric. I'm just like, Dana.
She can draw. It feels like she can draw anything. Yeah, she feels like she can draw anything from any angle, and it's like amazing. There's like this really hardcore drawing that I love. It's like these schoolgirls jumping the Easter Bunny or some shit. It's like lit. It's really cool, and it's like really cool. I love that drawing, and like look it up on Tumblr. It's awesome. But like, yeah, I like. There's like a whole bunch, and like her Legend of Zelda fan art. Like I just loved everything that she made, and like she was my style inspo for a little bit. Like, don't tell her, but she's my style inspo. Like when I was
immediately
when I was trying to like figure out in art school, I was trying to like figure out like what is my voice. Like when I'm like making like these Pinterest boards of like like Aisha Ellington's art, and then we've got Dana Terrace's, which is two like very different artists. But like when I'm like making these boards, I'm like, yeah, this is it. I want a combination of these two, you know, and like mixing and matching. And like since then, I kind of like been secretly following, not secretly, but like behind the scenes, just like watching what she does. And when I heard she had a show, when I heard she was looking for work or for why can't I talk? When I heard she was looking for help on the Owl House, like the last few episodes, I was like, I gotta get in on that. and then like through the help of my producer at work, like she made it happen, and then like I was able to jump on the show, and I was just like so happy and elated to be in the same room as her. Like, oh my god, you have no idea, it was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I found out about the show when it was announced for a green light alongside Amphibia, and I just remember like seeing the poster, and I was like, that show looks fucking cool. I'm like, I think this show's gonna be pretty good, and it was
pretty good.
But yeah, no, like I was following the show ever since like the announcement of like the green light, and then you know the first episode, I think like the first episode dropped on like YouTube, and I remember like sitting down like watching it on my laptop, and it was just like, this show seems really awesome. And then the pandemic hit, and that's when, you know, I started doing kind of like YouTube as like a quarantine hobby, and then that turned into, you know, a job for doing like YouTube, and then turned into a job of working on the show. But yeah, that's kind of how I found it. It was just like, I think I was like following Alex Hirsch at the time. He's like, hey, I'm doing voices in this new show called The Owl House. I was like, oh, that seems cool. And like Dana had obviously worked on, you know, Gravity Falls before and DuckTales. So yeah, so I was pretty stoked about the show just like initially when it was announced, and you know I saw the poster and all the art that was coming out for it. But yeah,
I like really got hipped onto Owl House though when I started hearing about all of the unfortunate like hate mail that Dana was getting for like it just being such a
is it like the 1 million moms thing?
Everyone was like pissed like because it's like witches and it's gay and like it's not Disney brand, right? And it's just like and it's just like I remember like thinking like I remember watching it. I was like, "This is the most tame. Like, what? I'm not that
so
it's tame.
Wholesome and stuff.
Yeah,
just,
it's
like,
cute. It was cute. Like, it just had like a witchy theme. Like, who cares? Like, Cartoon Network literally had a show. What was it? Summer Camp Island. Like, it literally had a show about witches itself, and I don't think it got nearly as much hate. I think it's just that it was just a witchy show on Disney, and I was like, ugh,
I think
do that.
The Disney connotation just makes it like, oh, you can't put this on Disney Channel. It's like, who cares? Disney owns everything at this point.
Forget in Tarzan a baby dies.
Right.
Oh, right.
Like,
right.
I know lots of Disney moms dying. But that's fine. That's okay.
We can have Pixar moms with dump trucks, and we can have like
but we draw the line.
Yeah, no witches, no gay, absolutely not. You can't do that. Gay. We don't do that here. We sexualize our moms, but we don't do that here. Sorry, I probably shouldn't talk. Let me.
It's so true.
Let me not say too much.
You didn't say anything wrong.
Yeah, I mean, but it's true. No, but like,
just making the truth.
Everyone's cool when it's a dumpy, but not when it's a witch.
Better tell somebody.
The two, like,
right.
The spectrum dumpy.
The spectrum.
So,
right.
Now, I do want to ask everyone, after all the time spent on the series, what is it you enjoyed the most about your time on it?
That's not really corny.
Oh my God. The crew. Yeah, no,
the friends you made along the way, the treasure.
No, like legit.
Yeah, literally though.
But that is though, I literally can't agree more. Like me and Sam Kirsten like became very good friends after working together on Owl House, and now we're coworkers again on like the production we're on now, and it's like Owl House is our introduction to each other, and like
wait, Ayo, are you on the same thing as Sam's on?
Yeah, I'm with multi-platform right now.
I'm on multi-platform.
Are you?
Wait, yeah, I am. Have I not? Wait, hold on.
Okay,
We
wait a
can talk about
minute.
this later. Like,
Yeah. Okay, I thought so. Listen, I thought so. I was thinking to myself, like, this guy looks so familiar. Like, I know we've worked together in the past, but like, you look too familiar right now. Okay, I thought so, and I was
okay,
like, it's because this is what I'm talking about. It's like being remote just f's everything up. It's like I don't even
exactly.
know what my
Yeah.
coworkers look like. That's crazy. Hey, what's up?
Hi.
What's up? Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, see the friends we made along the way. Like, boom! Now I have another built-in friend at work.
Sit down and think.
So.
The show where
Acquired.
crewmates get to
House.
meet for the first
Yeah.
time.
I know.
Right.
Where they realize that they
Right.
work on other shows.
That's crazy that it took us so long to figure it out, though. Like I was thinking it, but I was like, I don't want to be
pivotal
weird.
moment.
Right. Yeah, I did the props on like Chibi, or not Chibi. I did the props on show style. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I know, like, I'll talk to you later about this. But yeah, just, like,
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
everyone, like,
Yeah.
NDA.
Sorry.
NDA.
Sorry. Right. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, don't break your NDA.
I think my favorite part,
Right.
No.
just like the camaraderie that everyone had, and like a lot of us were LGBTQ as well, and so like that just made a lot of the Lumity or Rada moments really special to us, and like Camilla having the pride pin, and like every kiss that ever happened, like everyone was
Such a good
going
touch.
nuts, loved it. Like
Yes.
I remember when we watched the episode with the kid, the first Lumity kiss that happened, and we were like, play it again. Like, go back. Like we're all crying, we're all like just keyboard smashing, and just like being able to share that experience with your colleagues and your crew is just really special. And yeah, I just really loved everyone.
Yeah,
this crew is like
definitely.
so phenomenal. Like legit could not have asked for a better crew for a show like this. But yeah, no, I mean like it's been awesome just being able to, meet everybody and, become friends with them. I mean, like Mike and I knew each other before either of us got on the show, because since I was doing YouTube and Mike did like YouTube thumbnails for our friend the round table.
Shout out to Kevin.
So like we knew each other beforehand, before either of us got on the show, and now it's just like, oh my god! Like I think I just missed out working with you though, because I think Storyboarders rolled off like right before I hopped on for design. So we never got to like actually work like together. We'd like sit in those Zoom meetings though where we did screen an episode and be like, oh my gosh, Mike's here, like
like out of like 60 screens I'm like waving to hopefully you see me, like, hi.
I'll just be like, hi, good job everybody. But yeah, no, this crew's absolutely amazing, and I'm sure we're all gonna work on different projects together again down the road, and keep in contact, because this crew is absolutely phenomenal.
Right. So I do want to ask now, I mean, we are, for Mike and Zharia, y'all technically answered this one, but it can still be asked. What's next for everyone after this series? Yeah,
Mike and Zharia are on multi-platform.
Multi-platform. I mean, after Owl House, I went on to Monsters at Work, but then that also wrapped up. So now I'm on multi-platform with Zharia.
Yeah,
I can't say what, but I'm on doing something on it. Like,
making cool stuff. I'm still at Disney TV Animation. I'm on a show called Haley's on It. Has not come out yet. So that's all I can say at the moment. But yeah,
I was also on Haley's on It for a hot second. Did some freelance. I was on Rick and Morty for a little bit. I love working there too. But I'm actually I transitioned Right?
What a contrast.
Actually,
Right.
like when we were working on some of those like really gory like scenes in the Owl House, I was like, which show am I on right now? Because I was actually working on both of them at the same time. So like the zombie hand coming out of the ground and like Del like gripping his eye and like blood coming down his arms. I was like, this is like gory. But I'm actually transitioned away from TV animation right now, and I'm working on my graphic novel that's called Girls Give Me Butterflies.
I saw that. I saw that on Twitter.
So that's in production right now. It's going to be a while,
so cool.
but yeah, that's what I'm working on right now.
Can't wait to see it.
Thanks.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like I'm at multi-platform and I'm like moving to, I already mentioned, I'm moving to California later this year. But like, I think after that, like I have put in my brain that like I have the goal of becoming an art director within the next 5 to 6 years. That's like my next career goal. So like hopefully like one day, so like right now I'm trying to learn the ins and out of every facet of animation right now. So I'm trying to do a little bit of boarding, even though it's the bane of my existence, and like trying to learn like backgrounds and painting a lot, and just like understanding that it's a bunch of different stuff, not just like, you know, like every, you know, because art director, you got to be like know your team. So I would like to, you know, get an understanding of each side of animation, and then maybe one day become an art director.
Awesome.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I was actually pretty inspired by seeing Andy work during my time on the Owl House, and like the way that he did the design reviews and stuff. And I also was kind of like, that would be a really cool like position to have, and being able to give constructive feedback and editing and like, you know, art direction, all of that stuff. It really appealed to me when I saw him doing it. So I thought like, maybe that's in the cards for me someday. I don't know, but definitely like a far goal for me.
Well, we're kind of coming down a little bit. We've been going for a minute, so I do want to ask these last two very important questions. This one is a bit of a more symbolic question. Maybe it's putting you on the spot, but I do want to ask, what is the Owl House?
I think it's I would say it's a sanctuary for the weirdos.
I love Hooty.
And it started as a sanctuary, and I think it became a home. That's how I feel about it.
That's
absolutely
a beautiful way to put it.
I gotta agree.
I definitely agree. It's like a safe space. It's a safe space for anybody, like of any walk of life. And yeah, I definitely felt very welcome at home with you guys. Like it was such a treat. It's such a treat to like, be a part of.
It's just like finding your people. Like I think that's like the biggest thing. I think that reflects in the show itself and just this crew.
We gotta stick together as weirdos.
You know, as weirdos gotta stick together.
I think the Owl House is definitely about like just like people who don't feel seen or understood. It's like their space, and like like it's so cool to see like so many people resonate with like the show and like be like, yeah, I've never felt such representation in my life, and it's like, wow, it's amazing. Like I'm happy for you, because like I understand what it's like to not feel seen. Like I feel like we all everyone knows what it's like to not feel seen, and I think like the Owl House just does such an amazing job at letting people know that you can find your family and there is a place for you somewhere. Like you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of being a part of something, you know, or you belong anywhere you want to belong.
And I love the allegory too of like wild magic. Like, I don't know how to word this, but like I see wild magic as almost like queerness or otherness, and like how it only became what it was at the start of the show because of what Bellos did to the realm. And by the end of it, it's like it was never actually that weird at all, you know, like there were wild witches all over the place and they weren't dangerous, they weren't bad. I see it as an allegory for queerness, and I think that was the intention, but or at least one of the interpretations you can
Absolutely.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's like something cool about this show is that like I feel that people can interpret and find things within the show itself that you know speaks to them, and I think it's part of what makes this show just so incredible that it has that kind of impact for so many different people.
It's definitely a show that, like I said, is going to withstand the test of time because of how it was able to speak to a lot of people on different aspects of life. You know, be you LGBTQ plus, be you someone who's neurodivergent, or just somebody who just didn't fit in and felt misunderstood. It's a show that speaks to the weirdo that many of us are, and that's how it was able to resonate. That's how it was able to leave a strong impact. And the fact that everybody coming into it who made it was some type of weird, obviously. Like, you couldn't make this with somebody who doesn't think outside the box. This was something that needed everybody. It needed a weirdo. It needed weirdos to make it. And you and everybody else who worked on the show managed to make something that was that's just plain phenomenal, that was able to touch upon stuff that people thought you can't do that for a kid's series, but you were able to do it, and you did it in a really, really well done way. Like, it's honestly amazing how it managed to come out as strong as it was, especially with the fact that it's like everyone had to work from home. It was, you know, struck by that type of bad luck, but it still turned out a good product. Even though it was short-lived, you got out. There were priorities. There was a lot of priorities, and everybody struck home in every aspect to this series. And I think I speak for many fans across the board when I say thank you all for making such an amazing series. I don't think anybody can take that away from y'all, that y'all made a phenomenal series that is just going to be beloved for so long.
Thank you. And just like thanks for watching. Just like, you know, the season 3 message says thanks for watching.
Oh my god, I get it.
I mean, like, legit. Like,
Oh
my god.
Like,
I just realized
something snapped just now.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, I mean, just like seeing the response and reception, and to be a part of something that makes a positive impact in people's lives is just so special. And, you know, we're appreciative to be a part of it. So, you know, whatever people give to us, we give back, because it's just such a fun project to be a part of and experience.
Definitely. I remember like how, like when I was in high school, like how Steven Universe made me feel. Like I couldn't quite put my finger on it but I just remember like feeling very like seen somehow with that show. It just like, it was such a good story, and like it's so cool to like now 8 years later to be a part of like this next generation Steven Universe essentially. And like I think that's just like, it's just like, it's fantastic to like be able to see or to hear like the feedback from so many people. Like I feel so seen, I feel so heard. Like thank you for the show, like thank you for like what this show represents. And it's just, it's like, it's awesome. Like it's really awesome to like, I know it's like such a like, it's really an understatement, but it really is really cool to see just like the response from everyone on social media. Like everyone is like, the fans are like are more than like verbal about like their like how they feel about it. And it's just great to be a part of this next generation Steven Universe, essentially. Like, and I hope like that's that feeling that I felt when I was watching Steven Universe when I was 15, 16, whatever. Like I hope that's the same feeling that they're feeling, like seen and heard and like appreciated. Like, because we do appreciate like the fans, like even the overzealous ones. But we appreciate them all. Like, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. But
Yeah.
I do want to ask as one final thing, is there anything in particular you want to say to all the fans that supported this series?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, just thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
It's so
Yeah.
simple, but like legit.
Thank you for
Thanks.
You know, it's always nice to see like the creativity of the fans, like the fan art and the cosplay and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh my god, like this is incredible.
Oh yeah.
So it's always nice to see stuff like that come out of the
I was gonna
fandom
say
and the community.
Thank you for making the merch, the fan merch as well.
Merch, yes, no, more merch. We want it so
I was
much.
just gonna
Always
say
use more
thanks for the fan art, thanks for the engagement, and like thanks for making it trend on Twitter like every week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for
Week.
telling your
Yes.
friends. Thank
Number
you for
one
being
for-
so excited about it. And yeah.
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 And I think like one more thing, like if you like were watching the show and you felt like we missed something, like you felt like the representation for your X group wasn't good enough, or this wasn't good enough, or you would have done it differently, do it. Like if you feel like we didn't like hit the mark on something, like don't be afraid to like use your creative agency and go out and make something. Like doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be like you never know who's gonna see it. It's like even if you feel like you're just screaming to the void your representation, or like just like just do it anyway, like keep creating. And if you feel like we missed something, like do it yourself, because you never know like who's going to see what and what it's going to mean to certain people. And you never know, like you might post something like a short comic or an animation or whatever, it could go viral and the right person can see it, and then boom, now you're a showrunner yourself, or you have the opportunity to like share your voice and your experience, and your culture through whatever medium and to a larger audience. So like I just think that again, like if you feel like you're missing something, be the voice, because I feel like that's how all of us got anywhere. You have to like be that voice and speak out and not be afraid to like show the be the representation that you feel like is missing, like, so
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's how progress happens.
Yeah.
In representation in media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been said better.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And with that, I want to say thank you to everyone for this lovely interview. You have all been great guests. I enjoy speaking with all of you about this series because it means so much to me.
Yeah, thank you for
so much
having
for
us.
having us.
Having
And thank
us,
you for being
yeah.
so
Thank you.
and supporting the show. It like honestly means so much to us.
All right.
So thank you.
So everybody, y'all can check out The Owl House on Disney Plus, as well as Disney Channel and Disney XD, and on demand. And with that, this has been a great interview. And always remember, it's just a thought. The opinions expressed in this are of the individual guests and only of the individual guests and not of their employers. Thank you.